Well, to the surprise of no one, the main topic of this video is going to be about Daniel Bryan and the announcement of his retirement that we got Monday. And the entire episode of Raw that was basically built around him saying his goodbyes. So yeah, that's going to be the main focus of the video. But before I get into that, thank you everybody for the feedback on the first entry in my WrestleMania Best of Worst series. It seems like a lot of people liked it. And that's good. Hopefully the rest of the series continues to entertain. The next couple of videos should be a little bit shorter. I mean, like I said, with opening matches, there's obviously 31 matches to cover, but the next two are going to be World Championships and ladder matches, so I don't think the video should be, either one of those videos should be anywhere near as long. But, yeah, glad everyone seemed to like the first video, and hope you all enjoy the rest. It's going to be a lot of fun. Super Bowl that happened on Sunday. Congratulations to the Denver Broncos for winning, proving me wrong. I had picked Carolina like a lot of other people did, but I might have overestimated Carolina's ability to move the ball against Denver's defense. I mean, both defenses I thought played exceptionally well. In fact, a lot of people said that the game was boring. I really liked it because I like defensive battles like that. I mean, I fucking hate the quarterback duel type of games. Those are boring to me. Those are the fucking spot fest matches of football. It's like those 45 to 42 games. I'm like, nah, it's bullshit because it's just two teams going up and down the field, moving the ball at will, and then it just comes down to whoever has the ball last. So it's really like defense is such a non-factor in those type of games that I get bored with it pretty quick. But here, I like defensive battles. It's just down and dirty and in the pits and just a battle the entire way through. I just love that type of stuff. So I really enjoyed watching the game. And like I said, I thought both defenses played really, really well. And as expected, I mean, I expected this to be more of a defensive game. I just thought Carolina's offense would fare better against Denver's defense than the Broncos' offense would against Carolina's defense. It turns out, I mean, both offenses sucked. I mean, they both played pretty terribly, but Denver's defense created a lot more fortuitous opportunities to score some points. I mean, those two fumbles on Cam, I mean, that was basically the game right there. Von Miller deservedly won the MVP after a performance like that. I remember when the second fumble happened, I was like, if Von Miller isn't the MVP, that's a crime. He should absolutely be the MVP of this game. And it was nice to see. The 50th Super Bowl goes to a defensive player. That made me happy. Because for a while, the MVP award was just becoming the quarterback award. So anytime they break from that, I really, really like it. Peyton Manning gets his second Super Bowl ring. I think if he hasn't decided if he's going to retire yet, he should strongly consider it. Like, dude, you did not play well in the Super Bowl. You did not play well throughout the playoffs. Your defense basically won a championship for you, which if any quarterback deserved to do absolutely nothing and have a defense win a championship for him, it's Peyton Manning, because I watched that dude carry teams with no defense to Super Bowls and through the postseason and all sorts of other things. So it's kind of like it's kind of appropriate that Peyton finally gets to kind of take it easy for once and the defense does all the work. But Peyton's had a legendary career. He's for me personally, he's probably the most singularly gifted quarterback I think I've ever seen play the game. And a lot of people will say Montana or Brady and use the fact that they've won 4 Super Bowls, but when Peyton went down for that year and the Colts became one of the worst teams in the league, you really did see how important Peyton Manning was to the success of that franchise. And, for him to play as well as he did into his late 30s, I mean, even that alone was remarkable. And this season, admittedly, was the worst season of his career when you take into account the injuries, the fact that he got benched, the fact that he just flat out didn't play well. This was probably the worst season of his career, so he gets to go out with a ring, and like I said, he should strongly consider retiring because he'll probably never get another chance to go out on top. But, if this is the end of Peyton Manning's run and if this is his last rodeo, as it were, it was a hell of a ride, and football is going to miss Peyton Manning, and I'm going to miss him too. I think the sport's going to be missing something without him. So thank you, Peyton, for all the memories. And if this is the end, it was a hell of a run, and Peyton is he's one of the best of all time. What else is there to say? But a lot of guys retiring, actually. We've got Beast Mode retiring. As a Giants fan, Justin Tuck announced his retirement, which is important to me, even though he left the Giants a few years ago. Once a Giant, always a Giant. I was actually in the stadium when Justin Tuck got his last sack. And, Charles Woodson's retiring. There's been talk that Megatron's going to retire. It's just like, man, a lot of guys are leaving. The NFL is going to change, and it's exciting, but at the same time, it's kind of sad to see some of these guys go. But with retirement being the theme of this video, I have to talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw this week. Daniel Bryan announced on Twitter that he was going to retire from professional wrestling and address the WWE fans on Raw later that night. I thought in the back of my mind, I was like, what if this is a work? And part of that is wishful thinking on my part, and the other part of that is me always assuming it's a work until it's confirmed or until I see how it plays out. And the entire time Daniel was out there, I was like, okay, this seems very real, very, very emotional, very human, and this is about as real as it could get. And still in the back of my mind, I was waiting for some kind of a run-in for some douchebag to act out an angle and create Daniel Bryan's WrestleMania opponent or something like that. And it didn't happen. It's like, no, this is really his farewell. And, it's sad that Daniel Bryan got cut down the way he did. His body obviously broke down on him, the concussions, the neck injury, and all that other problems. That stuff adds up, especially when you wrestle the style that Daniel Bryan does. I mean, doing all those suicide dives can't be good on your neck or your head. And especially when you're that size and you're as small as he is, that stuff's probably going to hurt you a little bit more, and your body's going to break down a little bit quicker. So he's making the right decision. I think if he's getting the test results back that he probably shouldn't be wrestling, it's rule with your head and not with your heart. And I think it's very unfortunate. Daniel Bryan was obviously one of my favorites to watch. And that goes back to Ring of Honor. I remember watching some of his stuff in Ring of Honor and just thinking, man, this guy's really good. And it's really interesting that Regal became his mentor because he reminded me a lot of William Regal in his style and everything. He was like, wow, he's like a new age William Regal. And so Lord Steven Regal, I should say. I prefer to refer to him as how I first knew him, which was Lord Steven Regal. He did just a great technical style, but he always had this likability to him that really carried over into the WWE, where, yes, he's 5'8", yes, he's not even 200 pounds, and he looks like a dwarf in there next to everybody else, but there's just, people love an underdog, and it was just so easy to like Daniel. He's this funny little man that could wrestle really well and was a great athlete and had a heart of a lion, and there was just something that was instantly magnetic about it. You just couldn't help but fall in love with the guy, even when they tried to make him heel, which goddamn did they try to make him heel. But I actually have a friend who just started watching wrestling like a year and a half ago. So he had not grown up with the WWE or anything. He just recently started watching it. And just as he started watching it, he told me right off the bat, it's like, all right, Cena's dog shit. This guy's boring, that guy's kind of cool, that guy's cool, that guy's boring, this guy sucks. And one of the guys he said, it's like, how can anyone not like Daniel Bryan? He's this short little guy that wrestles really well and yells yes all the time. How can you not love that guy? And that's what it was about Daniel Bryan. He had charisma, or has charisma. Even, that's not going to go away just because he retires. He's just immensely likable guy. And like I said, he's had that throughout his entire wrestling career. One of my favorite Ring of Honor matches, actually, is the match with Nigel, where they unified the belts. That was one of the biggest matches that Ring of Honor ever did. And part of it is that Daniel is so likable and so magnetic and so instantly, he just draws you in, that all of his matches come across better as a result. I'm going to talk about this more when I talk about the tag team title matches in my Best to Worst WrestleMania series, but I was there in person at WrestleMania 29 And he was in a match that some people probably looked at as kind of a throwaway. It was him in the tag title match with Kane as his partner. A run that worked way better than it had any right to. I mean, that was like Kane's best run since like the late 90s. Team Hell No versus Dolph Ziggler and Biggie Langston. And the entire crowd was just in love with Daniel. I made the comment when I reviewed the show. It's like, of all the wrestlers there, Daniel Bryan was probably the most universally loved. Punk and Taker, the fans were split. More on Punk's side, but they were split. Rock and Cena, nobody gave a shit. Triple H and Brock, people were kind of like the spattering of applause for both, but not a whole lot of passion there. People were into the Shield. There were a few other things, but Daniel Bryan was the most universally liked performer on that show. And I can say that as somebody that was sitting in the crowd. And it took like what some people saw as kind of a mid-cardy throwaway match and made it one of the more enjoyable matches on the show. He's one of the wrestlers that had an entire WrestleMania built around him, which was WrestleMania 30, where the opening match and the main event and the storyline throughout the night was all centered around him. And he deserved it, and it happened because the fans basically willed it into existence. They did not want to run with Daniel Bryan. And everybody said, no, this is the guy we like. It's not Batista, it's not Cena, it's not anybody else that you ran down our throats. We like Daniel Bryan, and it got to a point where they just couldn't ignore it anymore. And that to me is like, Daniel Bryan to me is a reminder of the power of opinion and the power of the fans. If they really want something, they'll let you know that they want it, and if they fight hard enough, they'll Vince McMahon will back down, but and he completely goes against what everybody says a star is supposed to be. He doesn't have the size. He didn't have. He has a look. I mean, with somebody with that beard and somebody with that small frame and everything. I mean, he does look. He looks like somebody that belongs on a stage like that. But I mean, he looks like a character. He looks funny. He's and that's one of the reasons he's so engaged. Like, hey, look at this funny little guy. I kind of like him. And then you watch him wrestle, and he's so amazing at everything that he does that he draws you in even more. But he didn't have the traditional look that WWE normally looks for. But I've always said it's like there isn't one definite look that a wrestler should have. You just know it's great when you see it. I looked at Sting and Big Van Vader when I was a kid, and they were both stars to me. That instantly drew me in because of the way they looked, and they were completely different from each other in terms of how they wrestled and how they looked and everything. So Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, even though, they're big muscly guys, but they both have their own distinct looks. There isn't this one-size-fits-all. Everybody has to look the same, and it has to be a factory where you just try to recreate that same look. It's like, no, there's room for originality. There's room for diversity and all sorts of other things. And Daniel Bryan broke the mold and went against the grain, and he got over because of it. And over the last few years especially, he was one of the main reasons I watched WWE. And he was usually a highlight for me. And I'm sad to see him go. Like I said, if his health is a concern, it's smart for him to walk away. And I've always felt like I'd rather have him leave me wanting more than to stick around and have me get bored with him. So at least I can say I never saw Daniel Bryan diminish. I never saw him go on a downslide, and I never got bored with him. I loved him by the time he was done, I loved him just as much as I did when he was active. And that's something that I can't say a lot about most wrestlers, even guys like Shawn Michaels. By the end of it, because he'd done so many of those damn DX reunions, I was like, Shawn, please go away. You're lame now. Please just go away. Jericho now, and I hate to shit on Jericho, I really do, but he just looks like Uncle Chris now, and it's like, dude, you're Rudy Tooty Booty. It's like, dude, you're not cool anymore. I'm sorry. It's a shame, but I look at Daniel Bryan. It's like, man, I love him just as much now as I did, when he was at his best, and that's always good, and that's a nice bright side to all this. And the segment on Raw to close the show I thought was very emotional and very good. Like I said, very, very real and very. Very human. Of course, the bit with Brie was great. That's what she said, Chance. And like, that is the best thing ever. That is, I don't always like whatever crazy chance the fans come up with, but that was a good one. I did get a chuckle out of that one, but so yeah, thank you for everything, Daniel Bryan. I wish you all the best in whatever you decide to do for the rest of your life. I'm sure there'll always be a place for him in the WWE no matter what, but yeah, just thanks for everything, and you will be missed, absolutely. And unfortunately short end to a career that probably should have gone a lot longer, but he gave us a lot of great memories in the time that he was around, and that's important. So yeah, just want to come on here and thank Daniel Bryan for everything, because he did a wonderful job. Whether it be as the American Dragon Daniel Bryanson, or whoa, I fucked that up. The American Dragon Bryan Danielson, sorry, or Daniel Bryan the Flying Goat in the WWE that yelled yes all the time. He was just always entertaining, always fun to watch, and just a joy, just a total joy all around. So that's all I wanted to talk about basically is Daniel Bryan. I also wanted to give some quick recaps on some of the shows I saw last week as far as wrestling goes. Just a few quick thoughts, mainly on SmackDown and Lucha Underground. SmackDown, two things that I want to say, and this kind of ties into last week's Raw as well. The negative. If I see one more Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose tag team main event, I'm going to take a gun and just shoot something. I don't know what. It is driving me insane. I'm like, how do people how do the writers and the bookers look at this and just book the same exact match every single week? I don't get it. Unless Ambrose and Reigns are going for the tag titles, I don't want to see them in fucking tag match main events anymore, because it's just, there's no point to it. It's just... All right, we know they're going to be opponents at Fastlane. We know this. Like I said, they're not going for the tag titles, so, and they win all the time. So it's like they're not even really building dissension very well either. They just win all the time. And the faces stand tall all the time. So they're not really using it to build any kind of drama or anything. And we already know they're friends, so they don't need to reinforce that. These matches are just pointless and repetitive. I'm just goddamn sick and tired of seeing them. I actually enjoyed Raw a lot more this week, just them doing angles with Lesnar and Ambrose standing up to Lesnar and getting in his face and stuff. I'm like, there you go, I like that. That was fine. That was no matches either. They just got characters across and did stuff to make the match more interesting, the match at Fastlane more interesting. I'm completely fine with that. Just no more tag matches, please, dear God. And the main positive from SmackDown this week, I have to say, I thought Miz and AJ had a really good match. Granted, a lot of people don't give Miz credit. I think he's not one of my favorites, but he's better than he probably gets credit for. He's got instant hateability. You look at him and you just hate him, which there's something valuable to that. You can use that. And I think putting him up against AJ, it's actually, they had kind of a nice match, I thought. And I love that AJ is getting wins with different moves. He beat Jericho with a pinning combination with a roll-up. He beat Curtis Axel with the Styles Clash, and he beat Miz with the Calf Buster, not the Calf Killer, the Calf Buster. Okay. He's winning with different moves, and I like that because it makes all the moves more dangerous that way. It makes so when he has this match with Jericho on SmackDown this week, it's like, all right, if he locks in the Calf Killer, I'm gonna keep calling the Calf Killer. Fuck it. People think he might actually get a tap out, and because he did it on Miz the week before. So if Jericho breaks out of it, that makes it mean something a little bit more. Because I've seen AJ beat somebody with the move. So it's just little touches like that I like. And AJ's, I'm waiting for them to fuck up with him, but so far so good. There's not a whole lot to complain about with AJ so far. So again, hopefully they keep it rolling because I'm enjoying what they're doing with him so far. Man, he just goes out there and has matches and looks good. Right now for an early stages of his run, that's not bad. It's kind of enjoyable actually. But yeah, and my other thoughts were on last week's Lucha Underground, which I wanted to cover because I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was another good episode. Great production values. They did a really great segment with Sexy Star and Marty the Moth. That was fantastic. A couple of cool vignettes for PJ Black and Cobra Moon, who PJ Black made his debut in Lost, which I thought was a little weird, that you would do that vignette for him and then have him lose his first match. And Cobra Moon will be debuting soon, so got some stuff to look forward to. Bunch of guys came back. Killshot's back. Johnny Mundo's back, marked out for that. Cage is back, marked out for that, and they fought over who gets to challenge Mil Muertes, which I was like, yeah, because that's cool, because I love all three of those guys, so it's like, yeah, and they're all basically heels, but, it's believable that Mundo and Cage would be top-ish contenders for the belt. Got that going on. Who else? There were a couple of others. The Mac came back. He actually beat PJ Black. So, guys are coming back. Rey Mysterio actually popped up in the closing scene for the episode. And they tied him into the mythology of the series, saying that he was originally a protege of El Dragon Azteca, and he was going to inherit the mask, but he took a different path or whatever. It's like, oh my god, they just made Rey Mysterio fucking like... Okay, Rey was always awesome to some degree, but they made him like a great character right off the bat. And it's like, oh my god, they made him like mysterious and interesting. And he hasn't even wrestled yet. And even the way he talked, like Rey was one of those guys in the WWE that I said should never ever talk because he sounded awkward and stilted and terrible on the mic. And here he sounded really good, and I'm like, well, fuck it. I don't know anymore. Fuck it. But the one thing I wanted to criticize the show for was the main event. It was Pentagon and Prince Puma teaming up against the Disciples of Death in a 3-on-2 handicap match. I was not a fan of the way this match was booked. I like the idea of doing the match. I like the idea behind the match and using it to build a Puma-Pentagon feud, and I think that's great. I have no problem with them doing that feud or that match. That's completely fine. The problem was... Puma and Pentagon disagreed with each other and couldn't get along the entire match. And I'm looking at this like, all right, they can't get along. They don't like each other. They're going up against the Trios champions. It's 3-on-2. They should lose. I mean, that's just my thought on it. It's like they should not win this match, just for the sake of having it make sense to me. And to me, it would mean more if they did lose, because then it would add legitimacy to their disagreements and everything. And it doesn't make... the Disciples of Death look as bad. They got to win when they're supposed to. And it's like, to me, it makes them look like shit if they lose to the guys that fought with each other the entire match. And it also broke down and turned into a free-for-all where nobody was tagging in and out. And actually, it looked like they were building up to a hot tag for Pentagon, and they didn't really do it. They just kind of ignored the hot tag. And I'm like, okay, so we just gave up on that or whatever. But, I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of the way the main event was booked or how it was executed. Again, nice idea to do a Pentagon Prince Puma feud, and a decent way to a decent idea to get to that point. I just don't think they executed it very well. But that's just me. It kind of reminded me of, again, I'm going way back here, that old episode of The Main Event where the Mega Powers took on the Twin Towers, and that was when Savage turned on Hogan and left him by himself to fight both the Big Boss Man and Akeem 2-on-1. And the angle was great, the idea was great, the Mega Powers explode, all of that was handled really well. The backstage bit they did with Elizabeth I thought was really good. All of that was fine. I didn't like that Hogan won the match. When Savage walked out, Hogan should lose. And it actually would have paid off down the road because Boss Man would eventually challenge Hogan for the title. And I thought, if Boss Man had beat him here, it would have set him up for that down the road. But they were, and it's nitpicking on my part, but it's little things like that bug me. I wish they had the foresight to kind of keep that kind of stuff in mind. And it would have made Savage's betrayal mean more if it had cost the Mega Powers the match, and Hogan had lost the match because of it. It would have had more of a storyline impact, but they don't want to make the babyface look weak. That whole mindset. But whatever. I wanted to bring it up because people obviously know I love Lucha Underground. They know it's my favorite wrestling show. I want to show that I'm not going to blindly support every little thing that they do, and I'm not going to defend it when they do something that I don't agree with or something bad. And again, I've seen much worse on other wrestling shows. I'm not trying to call them out and say, "Oh, Lucha Underground sucks now," but I just want to say it's like, that could have been done better, and that was something I wasn't a huge fan of. And again, I'm not trying to be overly critical or an asshole, and I just want to demonstrate. It's like, look, my favorite show makes mistakes from time to time too. It's not the end of the world, and overall the episode was still enjoyable, and I still can't wait. Saving Rey Mysterio as the stinger at the end was great, and now it's a great to be continued. I'm like, oh fuck, I want to see where this fucking goes. Jeez, this is gonna be really good, but yeah, so that's all I have for now. That's the end of my ramblings. So yeah, my next video should be the next video in my WrestleMania Best to Worst series. Should be up sometime this weekend, Valentine's Day weekend. So everybody enjoy Valentine's Day. I'm going to see Deadpool and eat my heart out and probably play a bunch of old classic video games because that's what I do. Yeah, it's really weird. I should show you guys this. I got this for Christmas as a stocking stuffer. Now this is the calendar that I have now, and this is what I see for the month of February. If you can see that. Yeah, I got a Masters of the Universe calendar, and for February it's Skeletor up there, which, yeah, I get to look at Skeletor's picture all month long. That's really cool. Of course, I also have to complain that he's like, shortest month of the year, and they put my favorite character on the shortest month of the year. That's bullshit, but whatever. So yeah, that's all I have for now. Like I said, my next WrestleMania Best to Worst video should be up sometime this weekend, so be on the lookout for that. For all you Catholics out there, tomorrow is Ash Wednesday, so remember, no meat and dirty your face up a little bit. Get a little present from the priest. Maybe I should do a video. I keep wanting to do it, and I keep forgetting, or the time never works out, but maybe next year I'll make a video where on Ash Wednesday where I've got the ashes on and I'll look stupid. It'll be great. Maybe I have done it. I don't know. No, I don't think I have done it. I don't know. Go back and look at my previous video. See if I've done an Ash Wednesday video with the stupid mark on my head. But yeah, again, that is all I have for now. Goodbye, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you all later.